I was born here. I was essentially steeped in a musical life from the moment I was born. Both of my parents are professional musicians. They had solo careers, and they also were concertmaster and co-concertmaster of the National Iranian Radio and Television Chamber Orchestra. They played a lot of concerts in the former Soviet Union, in Europe, and essentially it was a very musical house. I was about a year and a half when I decided that I also wanted to make sounds like my parents did. I got my tiny 1/16 violin, it's about that big. And I started playing around with it. I got better at it because I really loved it. It was my favorite toy, really. They tried me on stage when I was about 3. I just loved the experience. It felt completely right. It felt like I was in an atmosphere that suited my temperament. The decisive change essentially came when I was about 12, and we decided, just for fun, let's see what will happen if I enter a competition. You know, just see how I play, it's how I do. Maybe it'll be fun performing. So I did, and I won the grand prize. This was the Canadian Music Competition. The prize for this was a debut with the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra. One moment I was just a kid, you know, with a violin hobby, and then the next moment I was standing in front of the Vancouver Symphony playing the Paganini Concerto in front of a large audience, you know, great orchestra, fantastic sound. And it was the first time I had this experience that I still absolutely adore, which is the orchestra's vibrations underneath the stage, where you can feel them as well as hear them. In my teens, I was a big romantic head. I thought the 1830s and 1840s were the coolest era ever. Those are the exact words I used to describe it back then. So I read a lot on the era. I read so much about Chopin's Circle. I was madly obsessed with its music. I would listen to things like 500 times in a row. The cello sonata, which I had transcribed and I recorded. One winter I listened to like compulsively 10 times a day. I don't know what exactly it was about Chopin. I think it was just a general infatuation with the era that translated itself into Chopin, because he's so paradigmatic of everything we understand about that era. So yeah, that's how that obsession played itself out. And I'm glad for it, because it was a good experience. I'm a very emotional being, and at the same time, I love rational reflection. So there are, I suppose you might call them contradictory aspects to my character, but really I think that they are part of one and the same thing, and that they feel one another and feed off of each other. And the stage is a wonderful place for a person of a character of this sort, because at the same time, you're both experiencing something so heightened, emotionally speaking, that it's simply elevated, and it's just out of this world. It's not like a normal experience that you encounter in your day-to-day life. It's something so extraordinarily different that you can't help being emotionally heightened and aroused. At the same time, the stage also allows you a chance for reflection, because every moment of the way you're thinking about choices, you're thinking about interpretive choices, you're thinking about how you're interacting with your conductor, with your orchestra, with your audience, what the dynamic is, you know, between yourself and all of these other aspects of the performative circle, I suppose you could call it. So these parallel experiences, I think, complement the way in which I'm constructed, which is really a dually reflective and yet very emotional person. This is a very strange business to be in because in one sense you have so many opportunities to think very thoroughly. It is a very cerebral profession in one sense, and yet there's so many out of the ordinary experiences that you have, jet setting, flying off to faraway places halfway across the world, getting there at obscene hours and having a rehearsal the next morning and having to function in a very ordered and organized format. So between these two parallel ways of existing, you get quite a dosage of varied experience. The stage experience is very quick. It's like a quick fix of some kind of narcotic. Stage is fun, it really is, and you can get away with a lot more than you can in the recording studio. However, the recording process allows you to do much more as far as artistically things are concerned, because you have chances for edits, for retakes, and this allows you to, for instance, listen back and say, well, actually, I don't think that works. I want to do it some other way. And so you have more of a finished and polished product that is really more like an artistic creation than it is an experiential thing, which stage is. My parents are my best friends, so of course I consult them, not just professionally, but also personally, and in terms of everything I do. They really are a wonderful support network, a support basis for me, and I'm lucky to have them in that capacity, because this, the life that I lead is so hectic and strange, but fun, wonderfully fun. Family is extraordinarily important. It is the network of stability, not just for people in this business who really are quite uprooted. I mean, your life is traveling, your life is living out of a suitcase. It's very destructured and chaotic. So having a family to come back to de-stress with is very important.